This story hits close to home because my dad was a black farmer, discriminated against when federal government decided to give land grant, massive money to white farmers, while at the same time discriminating against black farmers who were equally qualified for opportunity. Government years ago settled with many of those black farmers, and my dad was part of it. It helped me to have some ease. Now, there's a $12 billion aid grant on the table for farmers, but according to black farmers, black folk not receive any of this money possible. Put it up for a man. The Trump administration announced on Monday that American farmers will now receive $12 billion in relief aid as they struggle to keep their farms afloat amid rising costs and a declining market. While farmers welcome the economic relief, black farmers, none of whom were invited to the White House on Monday for the round, are likely to see little of the benefits due to cultural, historical barriers. You're looking at Mr. John Boyd. Mr. Boyd is the founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association. Told the Griot after Monday's announcement, quote, "That's not going to help farmers like myself who need help now. And many black farmers aren't going to get this stuff is really more money for large-scale white farmers, point blank. And black farmers ain't going to get a dime. It's not targeted for us in the first place," end quote. Boyd, who represents 150,000 black farmers nationwide, explained that due to institutional barriers and cultural mistrust, black farmers have of the federal government as a result of decades of racial discrimination. Most black farmers do not report their acreage to the USDA, which is part of the requirement to receive the latest $12 billion relief. During a recent national conference with thousands of black farmers, Boyd said members were instructed to get a farm serial number and report their acreage to the USDA, which was met with pushback. They were saying, quote, "I don't want the government to know all my business, how much I'm planning, what I'm planning, when I'm planning it, and they don't want to help me," Boyd recalled. Quote, "I see and feel that argument. I do because I've been there. But also, when there's a pot of money like this, if you're not in that system, and if you're not set up, you can't get the money." Now, I want to remind you, this is against the backdrop of a country that says they can't mandate you to tell them how many firearms. They can't mandate you to tell them how much ammunition you or said firearm. But they can mandate you to tell them how much farmland, how many acres do you have. And if you don't tell them that information, they can then penalize you by making sure you do not qualify for their team. Ironically, there's more. The longtime civil rights activist told the Griot, quote, "They do that on purpose," adding, quote, "In my professional experience, they do it because they know that that's the way around black farmers participate. If the farmer can prove that they're farming and prove how much they get, they should get some too," he argued. The USDA did not immediately respond to the Griot's request for comment on the concerns raised by Boyd and black farmers. Boyd is making a great point. The point that Mr. Boyd is making is that there are multiple ways to prove that you have the land, you have the operation, and you have the need. But to stick to this very restricted prerequisite document that only the federal government can implement and allow creates an intentional restriction so that the vast majority of money goes to white farmers, which was their intent and purpose first. There's more. $12 billion one-time payment is intended to provide farmers with a much-needed economic boost as the market endures the effects of Donald Trump's global tariffs and foreign trade. The U.S. Department of Agriculture said the federal funds to bridge payment for American farmers impacted by unfair market disruption would be received by the end of February. So the money's coming quickly. But once again, it's coming because it's not really fixing anything. It's making farmers whole based on the insane policies of this administration. So they're in the hole because of the current policy. Maybe this gets them back whole again, complete, but they never should be in this position in the first place. So the administration creates the problem and then acts as if they are solving a major. But in this solving of the major problem, they have figured out how to leave black folk holding their problem, but bailing out white farmers in the process. Reflecting on the multi-pronged crisis facing black farmers specifically, Boyd told the Griot, quote, "We shouldn't be losing our farms because of something that this president created through his Trump tariff fiasco." He added, "We shouldn't be losing our farms for low crop prices and markets closing up. All of this stuff happened because of the tariffs that this president put in place. Agriculture is the number one industry on the planet. It is the number one industry on the planet Earth. You need your farm." This man represents 150,000 black farmers stretched across the United States. Hard work. They are skilled. They are scientists. It is not easy to find someone skilled in irrigation, agriculture, and the science of growth. Not easy because the terraformer, the earth, continues to change all the time. My dad taught me a lot. I happen to have a master in agronomical agriculture. And the way this planet changes, you must have an apprenticeship model in order to create the connection between the knowledge of today and the knowledge you need. In other words, if you wipe out this generation of black farmers, you are likely not to get many more. Because this kind of tradition is passed on family. It is serious, especially when you have an earth that's here. So it seems as if I'm reading this quote, this is an intentional effort to eliminate black farmers. An intentional eliminate black farmers in the United States of America. You create tariffs that make it possible for your farm to be profitable. And then you provide a bailout option that primarily only white farmers buy. And it's the same damn thing they did 50s and 60s against farmers in the United States, in which decades later, the American public paid. All right. Senator, thoughts here.
Yeah, Doc, and thanks for sharing your family's history and legacy. My great-grandfather, owned some land as well. And I remember my mother telling me he was always afraid that white people were going to come and try to steal it from him. And, we know that there's a legacy of that. But despite all of that, there used to be, I want to share some figures with our audience, that the number of black farmers in America peaked in 1920, where there were almost 1 million black American farmers. Almost 1 million, if you can just wrap your mind around that. Compared to today, 95% of the farmers in the United States are white. So all farmers are suffering. Black farmers always suffer disproportionately because black people suffer disproportionately in this country. And so it doesn't matter what profession we are in, you pull us out. If there's suffering to be had, that's us disproportionately. This is cruel, and the president knows it. And he's not the first president. He shouldn't be doing this. He does not have to do this. He could do something a different way, not letting President Donald J. Trump off the hook. But I need us to understand that he is not the first president or the first person to yield this kind of power and put forth policies that make it harder for black folks, even FDR as great and understanding as he was, the New Deal, in order to negotiate with white Southern electeds, Democrats, they dealed away black people, Doc. So it's the same scheme. It's just a different day. So domestic work and farmers left out of portions of the New Deal. Why? Because those jobs, especially on the domestic side, primarily black people, primarily black women. So there's always a way for America to do these things, and they don't ever even have to say the word black. That has a way to disproportionately hurt us. In earlier segments, we were even talking about employment and what this president has done to disrupt and destroy the federal government, departments within the federal government. Black women, the number of jobs that black women have lost, Doc, right now, which we know has an impact on black families and black communities, partly because of what President Donald J. Trump and his administration has done. So I am not surprised. Thank God for farmers like John Boyd and other black farmers who are speaking up, speaking out, and trying to hold on for dear life to a legacy that ancestrally, when our ancestors were brought to this land, depending on what part of Africa, most of it was the western part, piercing a little bit of that interior, these cultivation tactics they brought with them.
That's right.
And they had to work this land and became them experts. What you call them, Doc? Scientists?
They are scientists.
The scientists of the soil.
All the way.
Yeah, this is gut-wrenching. But we don't have to accept this. I want folks to know, hey, we giving you this information. We don't have to accept this. Please join and unite with black farmers, because a different day is going to come and we got to be ready for it.
Man, well said. We'll bring up